On the surface, Roam might not seem like the intuitive best solution for creating a personal CRM. CRM being contact relationship management or contact relationship manager. It can also be customer relationship manager. But in this case, we're talking about creating a personal CRM, a really easy, lightweight way to stay up to date on what's going on in your friends' lives, to remember things that you've done with your friends, to remember to stay in touch with your friends, remember things about them. But Roam actually lends itself to creating an extremely lightweight and super, super easy way to manage your relationships. So in this section of the course, I'm going to walk through how to do that. It's really easy, but I want to show you a bit of it in action first. And this is my daily note from so far today. As you can see, I'm working on the Roam course. I've got a few of these things. This was the queries demo. If you go watch that video, these are like some masterclass stuff. There's like a bunch of things going on here. But you'll also notice up at the top here, I've got this note. Okay, really interesting podcast with Paul Saladino and Anthony Gustin about carnivore diet stuff. I made a note to maybe buy the book, decided not to do it. But this is a good example of the CRM in action. So Anthony hosts a great podcast called The Natural State, but he's also a friend of mine here in Austin. So whenever I tag Anthony in something, I can go see all the times that Anthony's been tagged. And this actually gives us a good example of the mix of things that you might see. So for one, this was just my note from today about his podcast. This is an article he recommended to me. So if we like pop this open in the sidebar, we can see here's the link. It was recommended by Anthony. Here's all the tags and then my notes on it. This is something he shared with me, which is like his monthly review plan. This is another article he recommended on like oat milk. And then this is just sort of a personal journal entry. I had dinner at his house with his fiance back on January 11th. So this is kind of a fun example of what you start to get when you start using Roam as your CRM. Even jumping off of this, we can see that, okay, Austin Bronner and Carly Bronner were there. Austin hosts a podcast called E-Commerce Influence. I could go check out my notes on him. I've got a couple of journal entries with him. This takes me to another friend, Chris Sparks. And this one's actually like a lot more fleshed out. So I haven't added a lot of this other information, but I do have some of his things here. He did like stand-up comedy for a bit, so I saved some of his recommendations. This is like notes from a dinner that I had. And as you do this, you're building out more and more information on your friends. You can start filling out these pages, but it's a really, really cool way to create a CRM in a very lightweight way without having to use some other tool and by just incorporating your CRM into like your daily journaling, taking notes on what's going on throughout the day, because then whenever you go back to these individual people pages, they're automatically going to be tagged with some of your past relationships, interactions, things like that with them. So let's dive into how you can start implementing this.